I was standing at my front door on a Saturday morning, staring at a woman I barely recognized. 21 years had passed since Diana walked out on me and our 3 children, choosing a life of luxury with another man over the family she had built. Now she stood before me, broken and desperate, expecting forgiveness. But the words I spoke that day were not what she came to hear. They were words she would never forget. Before I tell you what happened next, I would love to know where you are watching from. Drop your location in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe if you want to hear how this story ends. Trust me, you will want to stick around for what I told her that day. Let me take you back to where it all started. I was 28 years old, Diana was 26, and we had been married for 9 years. We lived in a modest house in the suburbs of Oregon, nothing fancy, but it was ours. The backyard had a swing set that I had built myself one summer, and every evening after work, I would push our kids on those swings until the sun went down. I worked as an accountant for a mid-sized company. The pay was decent enough to keep the bills paid and food on the table. Diana worked part-time as a nurse at the local hospital. We had 3 beautiful children. Jake was 8, a spirited boy with endless energy and a curiosity that got him into trouble more often than not. Emma was 6, quiet and artistic, always drawing pictures with crayons scattered across the kitchen table. Lily was 4, our baby with chubby cheeks and a laugh that could brighten the darkest days. Our life was not glamorous. We drove used cars, shopped at thrift stores, and vacations meant camping trips to the nearest lake. But we were happy. Friday nights were movie nights, all 5 of us crammed on the couch with popcorn. Weekends meant grilling burgers in the backyard while the kids ran through the sprinklers. I trusted Diana completely. She was my partner, my best friend, the mother of my children. I never imagined she could betray that. The first sign something was wrong came gradually. Diana started coming home later than usual. She said the hospital was short-staffed, that she had to pick up extra shifts. I believed her. Why would I not? She was my wife. Then I noticed she was always on her phone, texting and smiling at the screen in a way that made my stomach turn. When I asked who she was talking to, she would say it was just colleagues from work, discussing schedules and patient care. She started paying more attention to her appearance. New makeup, nicer clothes, perfume I had never smelled before. When I complimented her, she barely acknowledged it. Our intimacy disappeared. She would turn away when I reached for her at night, claiming exhaustion. I tried to be romantic, brought her flowers, planned date nights, but she seemed distant, as if her mind was somewhere else. I felt her slipping away, but I did not know how to hold on. One night, everything shattered. Diana had left her phone on the kitchen counter while she was in the shower. A text message lit up the screen. It was from someone named Greg. The message read, "I miss you. Can't wait to see you tomorrow." My hands trembled as I picked up the phone. I had never gone through her messages before. I trusted her. But that night, I broke my own rule. What I found destroyed me. Hundreds of messages between Diana and this Greg. Messages filled with words that should have been meant for me. Pictures of them together, smiling, holding hands, kissing. He was a doctor at the hospital where she worked. Older, successful, wealthy. Everything I was not. I sat at that kitchen table staring at the evidence of her betrayal and felt my world collapse. When Diana came out of the shower, she found me sitting there with her phone in my hand. She did not cry. She did not apologize. She just stood there, wrapped in a towel, and for a moment, I saw relief in her eyes. Relief that she no longer had to hide. I asked her how long it had been going on. She said, 6 months. I asked if she loved him. She said yes. I asked if she loved me. She hesitated, then shook her head. "I am sorry, Matthew," she said, her voice calm, almost detached. "I cannot keep living this lie." I begged her to think about the children. What about Jake, Emma, Lily? They need you. They need their mother. But Diana just looked at me with cold eyes and said, "They will be fine. You are a good father. They will understand when they are older." I could not believe what I was hearing. How could a mother abandon her children? But Diana had already made her choice. She said Greg could give her the life she deserved, She was tired of struggling, tired of living paycheck to paycheck, tired of being stuck in a small house with screaming kids. I deserve more than this, Matthew. I deserve to be happy. 1 week later, she packed her bags. I will never forget that day. Jake clung to her legs, sobbing, begging her not to go. Emma stood in the corner, clutching her favorite stuffed animal, tears streaming down her face, but too confused to understand what was happening. Lily cried because her siblings were crying. Diana hugged them briefly, told them she loved them, and then walked out the door. Greg was waiting in his luxury car outside. She did not look back, not once. I stood there holding my 3 children, feeling like my chest had been ripped open. That was the day my life changed forever. The days after Diana left were the darkest of my life. I had to explain to my children that their mother was not coming back. Jake, at 8 years old, was old enough to understand that something terrible had happened. He became angry, lashing out at everything. He smashed his toys, refused to eat, and screamed at me when I tried to comfort him. Emma withdrew into herself. She stopped drawing, stopped talking, and cried herself to sleep every single night. She would ask me, over and over, "When is Mommy coming home?" And each time, I had to tell her I did not know. Lily was too young to fully grasp what had happened, but she felt the absence. She became clingy, refusing to let me out of her sight. I was drowning. I had to wake up early, get the kids ready for school, drop them off, go to work, pick them up, make dinner, help with homework, give baths, read bedtime stories, and then collapse into bed, only to lie awake until 2 or 3 in the morning, staring at the ceiling and wondering how everything had gone so wrong. I was exhausted physically and emotionally. There were nights I sat on the bathroom floor and cried, asking myself how I was supposed to do this alone. But I had no choice. My children needed me. So I learned how to braid hair by watching videos online, though my attempts were messy and uneven. Emma and Lily did not seem to mind. I learned how to make the meals they loved: pizza from scratch, pancakes, shaped like animal spaghetti with meatballs. I attended school meetings alone, sitting in rooms full of mothers who looked at me with pity. I left work early to pick up the kids, and my boss was not happy about it, but I did not care. My children came first. Money became tight. I was supporting 3 kids on a single income. There was the mortgage, groceries, school supplies, clothes they kept outgrowing. I cut back on everything. No more cable television, no eating out. I sold the big TV we had in the living room. But I made sure my children never went without. They had what they needed, even if I had to sacrifice. Every night, no matter how tired I was, I read them stories before bed. I told them I loved them. I promised them that I would be there always. "I will be both your mom and dad," I told them. I promise. The only person who stood by me during those early years was my best friend Ryan. We had known each other since college, and he was the kind of friend who showed up without being asked. When my sink started leaking, Ryan came over with tools and fixed it. When I had to work late, he picked up the kids from school. On weekends, after the children were asleep, he would bring over pizza and beer, and we would sit on the porch and talk. "You are the strongest man I know, Matt," he told me one night. "Those kids are lucky to have you." Ryan suggested I take Diana to court, sue her for child support, but I refused. "I do not want anything from her," I said. "She made her choice. We will manage without her." And we did. Slowly, painfully, life began to stabilize. After 2 years, we found our rhythm. Jake grew into a responsible young man, helping me take care of his sisters. He became protective of them, walking Emma to her classroom every morning, making sure Lily had her backpack. Emma started drawing again, but her pictures had changed. She drew our family, now 4 people, not 5. There was no mother in her drawings anymore. Lily, sweet Lily, started calling me Daddy Mommy, which made me laugh and cry at the same time. She did not remember Diana. To her, I was all she had ever known. I worked harder than I ever had before. My dedication at work paid off and I got promoted. The raise helped ease our financial strain. We were not rich, but we were comfortable. The kids had new clothes, better school supplies, and I could finally afford to take them to the amusement park on their birthdays. But at night, when the house was quiet and the kids were asleep, I felt the loneliness. Diana never called. She never sent money. She never asked about the children. I heard, through mutual acquaintances, that she and Greg had gotten married. They lived in a big house in California, took trips to Europe, drove expensive cars. She had the life she wanted. And I had the life she abandoned. I was not angry anymore. Anger had burned itself out years ago. What I felt was a dull ache. A sadness not for myself but for my children. They deserved a mother who loved them. But they did not have one.